Hello, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody. My name is Miki Speer. This is my dad, Mike Sir. And tonight we have a very special episode for you as we enter into this Thanksgiving week, where we are going to be talking about Thanksgiving after loss. Now, what's really important to remember is loss looks very different for a lot of different people. Of course, there's the obvious of human death loss, but we're also, as a culture, as a world right now, totally grieving the loss of normalcy when it comes to holiday seasons. So that's what tonight is all about. We're really excited to be here with you guys. What a blessing to be able to be quarantining together. So we're going to start by doing a song that I personally wrote called Light a Candle for Me. Now, if you've been on the show before, you might have heard it, but this is going to be a totally new version of it. It's our acoustic version that will be released by the end of the year. But we wanted to not wait until the end of the year to be able to share it with you guys, because I just know when my mom passed away, the Thanksgiving was kind of the big holiday, gearing up for holiday season. So for a lot of people out there, this is kind of that first really, really hard holiday. And so we wanted to honor that and share this with you, because I think this song is going to hopefully give you an avenue to be able to process your grief and to be able to lean into it. So even though the song isn't quite released yet, I hope that this brings you joy tonight. I am going to put the comments, the lyrics in the comment section so you can follow along. And if you haven't yet, make sure you head to my website, sign up for my email list, because that email list is going to be the first place that will get the song released. So I want you to make sure you see it right away. And in addition to that, if you haven't followed me on Spotify yet, make sure you do so. That link is also in the comment section. That way you've got it right where you can on repeat when it drops. So without further ado, I'm going to let my dad introduce himself, and then we'll go from there. So Dad?
Hi, everybody. I'm Dad. I'm Mike. So thank you for being with us.
Awesome. So this is my brand new song called Light a Candle for Me. And if you like it, please let us know, and feel free to share the episode and like the page while you're at it. You know, some doors can't be opened, and words can't heal a heart that's broken. Holding me in your arms is what you really need. But in the meantime, you can light a candle for me, and let the flame light up the room like my smile used to do. And let the memories begin to fill your mind. Don't be afraid to say my name and begin to share your pain. And remember, I'm right by your side. No, we can't go back to the way it used to be. But in the meantime, you can light a candle for me. When I passed away, your world stopped turning, but the love we share won't stop burning. I know one day we'll meet again and to claim our missing piece. But in the meantime, you can light a candle for me, and let the flame light up the room like my smile used to do. And let the memories begin to fill your mind. Don't be afraid to say my name and begin to share your pain. And remember, I'm right by your side. No, we can't go back to the way it used to be.
But in the meantime, you can light a candle for me and let the flame light up the room like my smile used to do. And let the memories begin to fill your mind. Don't be afraid to say my name and begin to share your pain. And remember, I'm right by your side. No, we can't go back to the way it used to be. But in the meantime, you can light a candle for me. And no, we can't go back to the way it used to be. But in the meantime, you can light a candle for me.
Oh my gosh, thank you everyone for all your kind comments. I really, really appreciate that. For those of you who haven't met us before and who are just joining, welcome. Happy Thanksgiving week. My name is Miki Speer. This is my amazingly talented, loving father, Mike, sir. And I am a musician, author, and talk show host of Tonight's Show. When I was 13, we lost my beautiful mother, Amy, to cancer. And I spent the better part of a decade avoiding feeling, pretending I was fine, being confused at why everybody kept asking how I was doing, because I tried to convince myself and the world that I was okay. However, the only way to deal with grief is to go through grief. And I kind of learned that the hard way when everything started to fall apart into shambles. So that's why I wanted to start a show where we could talk every single week for an itty bitty bitty amount of time out of our very busy week, where we can pause and learn about how to heal our own wounds, as well as learn how to help other people that we aren't quite able to 100% relate to. So that's what the healing half is all about. And I'm so excited to dive more into that tonight. But before I let this extremely talented widower go, I do have a quick question. So Dad, do you mind just kind of introducing yourself a little bit and what helped you that first Thanksgiving after Mom died?
Sure. Well, I'm Dad again. Amy and I were married for almost 17 years, and she passed away of cancer in March of 2007. And with my 3 girls, that was obviously a very difficult loss. And everybody around us it was a massive, massive loss. It's one of those things you just can't plan for. So in the year of first, as you talked about, is since she passed away in March, we had 8 plus months of firsts before we got to Thanksgiving. But Thanksgiving was probably the first big family gathering, maybe. And as I look back, and one of the things that we wanted to make sure is that we just keep things as normal as possible for our family. No big, no dramatic changes or anything like that. So, but I thought it was really helpful is for us to still be with family for Thanksgiving, having Amy in the room and making sure that we honored her memory and talked about her, and everybody sharing the love of family and of people that we've lost before her. And that's what I think was really important for us. And I would just encourage anybody who's going through that is try to be thankful for what we did have and the persons that we've lost. And that's what Thanksgiving's about, is celebrating who we're with maybe today, but also the people that have gone before us.
Well, thank you so much. Love you.
Love you too. All right. Thanks, sweetie. Yeah. Okay. Bye, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
Isn't he the best? Give an amen. Applause for Mr. Sir in the comments section. No, thank you, Dad. I really appreciate that. How'd you guys like the song? Oh my gosh, having that harmony from my dad is unbelievable. So again, I can't wait to share it with you guys once it comes out live. So you're going to get my produced version as well as the acoustic version, which will have old Dad on there as well. So we're just so excited. What a blessing to be able to share music together as a family. So as he mentioned, Thanksgiving is tough. Thanksgiving is oftentimes the first, It's the first holiday I have found for just all the interviews that I've done with people that kind of leads into that holiday season where, yes, I'm sure Easter can be difficult and 4th of July. I mean, every family is different. Everybody has different values on what holidays are special, but consistently across the board, this winter season, kicking it off with Thanksgiving and going into Christmas, seems to be a really, really difficult time for people who's at their first year, but it doesn't have to stop after that. We know holidays can be hard anytime after loss. It doesn't just have to be the first year. And in fact, a lot of people are in shock the first year of first. I've met tons of people who have said that they don't even really remember after the funeral because they were just so hopped up on adrenaline and shock, just trying to get through it, that sometimes it takes a couple of months for reality to set in. And for some people, that happens to line up perfectly with the holidays. So tonight, we are not only going to talk about what to do if this is your first Thanksgiving, how you can help others who this is their first Thanksgiving after a loss, but we're also going to talk about how can we be thankful for all of the traditions and everything that we're normally used to doing that we're not really going to be able to do this year. I'm very aware that the loss we are feeling as a country is not limited to a death loss. So many people don't get to see their family, their distant family, other times of the year other than the holidays. So they might be thinking, oh my gosh, it's going to be about 2 years before I see these people. And that can be really stressful too. So I just wanted to let you guys know we are going to dive into a lot of this tonight. And hopefully you can find some tidbits. However, if you have any questions or you would like to, kind of offer some suggestions, please don't hesitate to jump on my email list and email me with your thoughts, comments, and then I can absolutely share them with everybody afterwards because everybody's got some tricks of the trade that it's always good to know. So the first thing before anything else is I want you in the comment section to tell me what's your favorite Thanksgiving food? Like when you think Thanksgiving, your mind goes to what? There's grandma's dumplings, green bean casserole, sweet potato baked turkey. Some people do ham. I'm kind of curious at what yours is. And the reason why I ask that is not to just learn about what food you like, which I am interested. I love learning about what you guys like. And if you've got new recipes that I can make gluten and dairy free, I'd love to hear them. But the reason why I want to ask that question is because it gets us thinking in a new way of what do I actually appreciate? What am I actually associating this time of the year with? And that begins to allow us to quantify our grief, right? And again, we're not just talking death loss right now, we're talking loss in general, because a lot of people are not going to have a normal Thanksgiving. So when we start to go down the list and say, why is this season special? And think back to maybe the height of your happiness when you think of Thanksgiving. If you can't think of it in these terms just because it's too raw, totally get it. Just go back a couple years. What did Thanksgiving used to make you think of? I'm seeing in the comments people saying dumplings, pecan pie, spinach, salad. Oh my gosh, that all sounds so amazing, you guys. I hope you're able to still have that this year. But I want you to kind of think as you're going through this, what is it about Thanksgiving that is so special? What is it that the person perhaps that you are not going to be able to see this year, be at distance, what did they usually bring to the table? Maybe you and your sister are best friends and you always looked forward to seeing her. Or to go a little bit more of a darker direction, if you are experiencing a death loss this year, what is something that the person you're grieving did that made that holiday so special? It could be as simple as their presence, but it could be things that they made. I know a lot of people missing their moms or grandma or aunt figures who miss their food and their signature dish. But it also could be, maybe they were just the life of the party and you miss the conversation, you miss the hugs. You miss kind of those dish cleaning moments where half the people are watching football and the other half are working their butts off to clean up. Not sure who got to draw the football stick, but that's what I seem to notice. But maybe you bond with somebody during that dishes cleanup or whatever it is. I would just encourage you tonight or this week to really think about, what does Thanksgiving mean to me? And what of those traditions that are you not going to be able to experience this year? Being able to see on paper what is perhaps causing your subconscious some tension is going to help you begin to heal. I know I've talked about the T chart a million times, but I'm going to say it again because this is a really great way for us to be able to do that. So on your piece of paper, draw a T on the left-hand side, list all of your traditions, all the people that you would see. And if you're really feeling one that's kind of stirring it up, I know for me, I feel it in my chest. It immediately goes, I cinch up when I know something's a little too close to the nerve. So as you list all of those things going down the list and you notice one that makes your chest kind of tighten up, or maybe it makes you want to go do something else, you can recognize those as triggers for your body to say, okay, this is a kink in the muscle and I've got to work it out. So then you circle that one, draw an arrow over to the other side, and then start to just process, what about that was so special? Why did you value that? When did that tradition start? When did that tradition stop? And kind of lean into your grief in that way. I know I've talked to so many of you who have emailed me in between shows, which I love doing. So thank you for doing that. And the overwhelming consensus is, how do we enjoy Thanksgiving this year? How can we be thankful in the midst of all of this that is happening? Because like we talked 2 weeks ago, it can be really hard to be thankful. So the first thing that I just want to encourage all of you guys in is, you are not alone. There are lots and lots of people who are also feeling very stressed right now. But as you know, sometimes knowing other people are in misery with you doesn't necessarily make you feel better. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into what can you do to process this grief, to keep Thanksgiving as close as it is as possible, and find, perhaps most importantly, your personal style and your needs. I loved hearing my dad's example because from his perspective, for him personally, keeping it normal was what he needed, right? That worked for him. That kept the traditions alive, and generally with bigger families, right? You've got lots of different needs, but in general, you don't want somebody to lose a tradition along with the person. So it was good to go to grandma's, and it was good to see all my family, and it was good to do all that stuff and kind of play normal for a little bit. However, that was our style. By no means does that mean that's your style. So the second part of, after kind of figuring out why is this hard, what do you miss? The second half is, in your ideal situation, what would make you the most comfortable? How can you share that with somebody? For example, maybe there's a tradition of somebody who passed, that there was a tradition you love to do with someone who passed away, and it's too painful for you to do that this year. You're like, you know what? I just can't. I can't do that game this year. It's just too much. What we need to do is we need to be okay voicing that to somebody else. And if somebody else says, well, geez, that's my favorite part of Thanksgiving, I don't want to not play that game, that's when you can talk about it on the front end and say, okay, maybe I'll step outside during that time. Or perhaps maybe two groups can go do two different things. This is, of course, assuming you're with your immediate family at home. But for some people, they love keeping it normal. They love status quo. Let's just keep on keeping on. For other people, they want it to look dramatically different because the same is too painful. And for most of us, we fall somewhere in between. So a really easy way to bring that person into the room is through lighting a candle, just like that song that we sang. I know my mother-in-law, hello, Tammy, she's amazing at this. Every holiday, we do the candle lighting ceremony where we pause all the great conversation and we just read a poem And that poem lets us honor those who have passed away and lets their spirit, again, let us be reminded that they are still with us in our hearts. And I think a candle is a beautiful way to do that. So that is one really great way for you to do that. And I'd encourage you, if you haven't honored a loved one in the past, and maybe it's been a few years, it's not too late. We know that grief is cumulative. We know that grief changes, and that as we go through other things, we start to miss our person more. And we're like, it's been so many years. Why is this coming up now? But it is never too late to begin grieving. It is never too late to honor a loved one. And I would just encourage all of you guys, think who is not able to be with you this year by death that you wish were there. Even if you've got kids at home who never really knew that person, this is a way for you to share with them, hey, I know you never got to know my mom, but I'm going to talk to you about her. And this is what she did on Thanksgiving. And this is what was so great. And just kind of let it go. And if you want to kind of go down that path of storytelling and just kind of set a timer and be like, for 5 minutes, we're just going to share stories, that's another amazing idea. However, if you just want to do the candle ceremony and then get back to dinner, that's okay too. Again, if this is a no shame zone. So the best thing you can do to find your style is to think about it ahead of time. Close your eyes after getting it all on the paper. Say, okay, what would make me happy this year? Genuinely, what would feel normal in a good way? And what would feel too far, where it's like, I can't do that. And then what I would encourage you to do is just to role play a couple situations. Who are you talking to? Where are you sitting? Who's helping you out with the food versus who's not helping out? All those things, play through it, and then allow your needs, which are very valid and very important, to be known to other people. So if you are feeling on one end of the spectrum where you're like, I just don't want anybody to talk to me about my loss, I just kind of want to pretend I'm normal for a night and just be that, great. Tell people. However, if you've got somebody else who's like, I really would like to bring them into the room and to spend some time talking about them. I'm feeling very alone in my loss, and I could really use that community of a time where, hey, even if it's over Zoom, to be able to say that, great. And if you've got two people in the same household who want to do very different things, which, trust me, happens, that's where you talk about it. How can we meet in the middle? Can one person step out? There is no shame in finding your style when it comes to grieving during the holidays. So I just wanted to encourage all of you this week. So many names I recognize. It's so good to see you here. And I know you've suffered so many losses. So I wanted to give you permission this week to dive into that, to give those people space. And really, and it doesn't matter if it happened 40 years ago, allow that memory to come up. Because when we allow ourselves to actually feel what's boiling in the background, it's amazing how much healing can take place. I always say it's like a hose being kinked, right? When we are going through life, we're busy, we're working from home, kids are at home. I know a lot of people are really crazy right now. So when we feel something bubbling up, perhaps it's a random memory or a random location pops into your mind, or you see a picture, somebody starts to talk about it and it's bubbling up, and we change the topic, which again, I did that for 10 years professionally, basically. So I understand the temptation. But when we deny our brain from going there, we are kinking the hose and we're saying, past, you're not welcome here. You don't get to be here. But do you guys know, if you can imagine holding a hose, how much pressure is in that little kink that you have? It's taking everything for that hose not to burst, right? And of course, if you push your emotions down long enough, it will burst, which is what happened to me over and over and over again. But I thought I had a crying disorder. It had nothing to do with my grief. But we know that that's not the case. So what I encourage you to do is when those emotions pop up, those memories, unkink the hose. Allow your past to come forward. Allow yourself to feel. and allow perhaps some healing, much needed healing to take place. Because if you do this work before the actual day, I assure you, you are going to feel more grounded and more at peace than if you're just like, well, let's just see what happens and hope for the best. Rarely does winging it go great when it comes to grief, what I call grief planning. And speaking of that, I know a lot of people are wondering, how do I begin to have that conversation? We talked about the T chart, but I want to also share with you another resource, and I did just put it in the comment section. So this is my book, My Heart Still Remembers, and it was designed specifically for these events leading up to holidays where you are grieving and you are missing someone in particular. This is my personal flow that now, after all those years of avoiding grief, this is my step-by-step process on how to do that. And if you haven't yet, you'll get a free copy when you sign up for my email list. But I know writing is by far more therapeutic for most people. So you do have the ability to buy a hard copy. And that's the link that I put in the comments section because I want you to know that there's a sale going on. I wanted to dock the price for holidays because I know this is a crazy time of year. And then after the holidays, the price is going to go up. So just know if you are interested for yourself or for a friend, in addition to encouraging your friend to take some time aside, you can be that person for them and say, let's talk about it. How are you feeling? How can I help you? Even if you're not in the same household, whether it's Zooms or encouraging them to speak up for themselves to their family that they will be with on that day, that's amazing. I think that's going to be a really good thing for you. So if you or your friend need this book, the link is in the comments, and I hope it brings you as much peace and joy as it has brought me. So I just wanted to read a couple sections from that so you can kind of understand the flow of the book. So this is step 3, gratitude. As we continue to put back together all that our loved one was, it's almost impossible to not see how much of an impact they had on our lives. When we allow our current actions to be grounded in past influences, our roots grow deeper and stronger. We feel more connected with where we are and feel less confused about where we are going. We cannot control the fact that they are gone, but we can choose to honor them with gratitude. After that point, there are some prompts. Again, what initially comes to mind when you think about them and what you're thankful for. Some of my favorite prompts that it has is they taught me the importance of, they introduced me to this tradition, they added blank to my life, their values inspired me to. All of these things are prompts to just get the juices flowing and to let that gratitude flow. And then after that, there's plenty of space to journal as well as a thankful goodbye, which is what you can read with that person in your mind to kind of conclude the exercise. So again, this is what I'll be doing this week, Lord knows, multiple times. I've been really struggling, you guys. My grandma, who was my mom's mom, passed away last early spring, kind of right at the tip of COVID, which is, again, God's hand in a way that we were still able to travel and see her before she passed away. But it's been like one of those things where I can tell, like when I say like, I miss grandma, it's almost like a trigger in my body is like, yup, you do. And we need to talk about that. So I can, I'm right there with you guys. This is a hard season, even if that person passed away a long time ago, or even if you don't even have memories with that person during this holiday. Like, for example, I haven't seen my grandma over Christmas or Thanksgiving for, is it 20 years? It might be about 20 years because they always snowbirded down to Arizona. However, I still am feeling extra emotional about missing grandma right now, even though I don't really have Thanksgiving memories with her. It's because the holidays bring up these sentimental feelings, which can be so great when you're in a good mood and you're like, oh, I just love the Christmas trees and I feel cozy. But that same coziness can feel like a desert when you are missing that thing that made you feel cozy. It's almost feeling externally told to be cozy. When you don't feel it, it almost reminds you of why you don't feel it. And to me, that's that spiral and why this time of the year can be really hard. But I know taking time to pause, to cry in the bathtub, to do what you have to do to say, I am giving this person space. I'm going to let half an hour be filled with whatever half an hour needs to be filled with, and just let your soul guide you. It doesn't have to be someone like a grandma. It could be a dog. It could be a chapter of your life. It could be a friendship that perhaps turned toxic and you're not friends with this person anymore, but you do miss the good days. I just really encourage you guys to give yourself space this week and understand that whether you call it energy or whatever it is, there's a lot going on right now, and your subconscious knows this is a big week. You might be pretending it's not a big week and that it's not that big of a deal, that you're not going to be seeing all your normal family like usual, but your body doesn't run on that same track, right? Your body, it knows it's a hard week. It doesn't believe the lies that we tell our outward self, right? So setting aside time, going through My Heart Still Remembers, as well as allowing yourself to be sad that it's going to be different this year. It's really easy to dismiss it and say, oh, well, I understand why, therefore it's okay. And it's like, no, it's not okay. It's not okay. All of this is hard. All of this is difficult. Even if it's necessary, it doesn't mean that it's easy to deal with. It doesn't mean we have to be super happy and joyful about it. And it's important to give yourself permission to be a little upset, to process that. Because if you're in denial, no work's going to get done. And then lastly, after you go through all that stuff, I hope we land back on gratitude, because gratitude gives it meaning. It gives us direction. Again, even if you aren't grieving necessarily a person this year, but perhaps traditions or family gatherings, you can be grateful for what you used to have. And you can ask yourself, how did that bless me? How did that help me be who I am today? And how can I take that and pass it along? I don't know what that's going to look like for you. Only you can answer what you are comfortable with and what you want this year to look like. But I encourage you to remember your voice matters. What that little thing inside your brain saying, maybe this is what I want this year, voice it. You will be surprised how after you just put it out there and you just tell somebody, actually, this is what I want, how most of the time people say, okay, and they keep going. We always build it up to be such a stronger, more combative conversation than 99.9% of the time it is. Because everybody's in this together. Everybody wants each other to have a good holiday. And if you don't tell them what you're not comfortable with, they're never going to know. So give your family and loved ones that gift of just being honest. Honesty is the best thing to build a relationship on anyways. And I really encourage you to spend some time this week pausing, reflecting, doing some deep breathing, unplugging from social media. And I just encourage you to have an amazingly thoughtful and introspective Thanksgiving this year. It's in a strange way, what a gift, to be able to pause, to be able to prepare ourselves so that way when it's showtime, we've already thought of it. We've already planned, we've already confided with our family on what's going to help us. So whether it's over Zoom or you're able to have your immediate family together, I hope you all have an amazing Thanksgiving, remembering to unkink that hose and let your past and present be totally in flow with each other so that way you can feel more grounded and more excited about the future. Thank you, everyone. I am so extremely grateful for you. I can't wait for next week when we've got a special guest on the show. But I wanted to leave you with this amazing quote that we talked about 2 weeks. It is not happiness that makes us grateful. It's gratefulness that makes us happy. So good luck with your T-chart this week. Good luck processing through your My Heart Still Remembers. I can't wait to hear how it goes. send me a message. Let me know your thoughts. And if you want to take advantage of that sale, please do so. I'll make sure I send a link out in my email as well. And if you haven't yet, follow me on Spotify. I can't wait for you guys to hear Light a Candle once it's live. But in the meantime, I really hope that you are still able to do the candle lighting ceremony this Thanksgiving. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving week, whatever your new normal looks like.